Ever since I can remember, my elders have been bemoaning the fact that the old skills, the old trades are fast disappearing. And the one they talk about most sorrowfully is the blacksmith. Now, just think of all the nostalgic claptrap that you've heard about the village smithy in your day. The small boys standing in the doorway, their eyes agog as they watch the smith, that mighty man, and the smells, the smell of horse and sweat and leather. And it's unfortunately true that blacksmiths and their forges are disappearing, but believe it or not, there are still 5 of them here in the heart of Dublin. Men who are working at their trade and getting the bulk of their livelihood from actually shoeing horses. And one of them is here in St. Anthony's Place, which is just behind Temple Street Children's Hospital. His name is Dick McLaughlin. What's the first thing you do, Dick, when you're going to shoe a horse?
Well, you cut the cinches, you cut the nails. Then you get your pinchers. You pull the shoe off.
Comes off pretty easily, does it?
Yes. Providing you cut the cinches and the nails, you know.
And once you've got the shoe off, then what's the next step?
You clean out the horse's foot.
That's it.
Clean the horse's foot out and search for corns.
Search for corns?
Corns.
Do they commonly have corns?
Yes, some horses do.
What about this one now?
This one hasn't got any.
Well, what do? You pair the...
Pair the foot round and clean out where you think there is a corn. The horse a corn, then you pair it out well, so it takes the pressure off the corn.
Well, what about this particular pony here?
Well, these feet is all right. He's good feet.
Well, what do you do now?
I just clean them out. Really. You take a certain amount off the foot with the drive the nails in them, you know.
Yes. You've pulled all the old nails out now.
Yes, all out. It's just a matter of cleaning the foot and fitting the shoe to the horse's foot and then putting it on him.
How long will it take you to put one shoe on this pony now?
Well, 3/4 of an hour.
And that's for 4?
All 4 shoes, yes.
And you always start with the 4 feet?
Front feet, yes.
Why is that?
The near front foot.
The what?
On the near front foot.
Why is that?
Nearly every man starts on the near front foot. Well, it's the handiest way to go through them, you know what I mean?
Is this the hardest part of the job?
Yes, it's the longest part of the job. Making sure that the foot is right before you put the shoe on.
Well, it doesn't seem to bother the old horse at all, does it?
Oh no, but some horses, you get a young horse there with their first shoe and they are a bit on the hammer they don't like, you know. I've been in the smithing business at least for the last 65 years. I was coming from school, I blew the bellows, come into the forge and blew the bellows until I come fit to be able to use a hammer, and then I had to start off, take off shoes and pick up the trade. Nobody at present to take over. I know no family that my son has never took up with the job, and there's only myself left. But I have a brother with 2 sons, and they are farriers, but they retired from the business. There is a farrier and a horseshoer, but there's the farrier is the man that must know how to dress a horse's foot and to fit the shoe to the foot. I make shoes for special horses. Horses that bad feet, or horses, riding horses. I had to make my own shoes. Of course, we get some horses that's a bit wicked. Sometimes I have to put a rope on the leg to pull up the leg. But it does quieten them. They can't kick you, nor they can't hurt themselves.
And this is the new shoe then?
This is the new shoe. And you can see that that shoe is perfectly fitting the horse. It's not that it must be level to the foot.
Well, do you have to take any measurements at all?
Sometimes you have to alter shoes for horses' feet. Is according to the horse's feet, you have the shoe, you can make the shoe the horse's size.
And that's a perfect fit now, do you
That's a
reckon?
perfect fit there.
An awful lot of smoke there.
That's a cure for people with TB. You swallow that smoke and there's nothing wrong with your inside, it'll clear it out.
Doesn't smell too good to me.
Oh, you only imagine that.
Got the very long nails.
They're the smallest nail, second smallest nail, and the sort of a nail for a horse like this.
That's about what, 2 inches long, is it?
Oh, it's 2 inches, yes. Well, you see, we don't go by the length, we go by the size. The size 8 nail, size 10, size 6, 8 and 10.
No chance of you missing your shot there and putting it through his foot proper.
Well, that's the part of the trade, that you know where to put the nail.
Are there always the same number of nails?
Well, there's supposed to be 7 nails in in each shoe.
And once you've got the 7 nails in, Dick, what then?
You raise the nails with the hammer and pinchers. Raise them up, like, you know. Then what they call clinching them. You have to turn them around then and file off the nails.
How long for an ordinary horse working along the streets in Dublin here, how long would it take him to wear out a pair of shoes?
They're just like a Christian. Some horses will get a month out of them. Some of them will only get a fortnight. It's according to the way they wear.
And it's an expensive business keeping a horse well shod.
Well, it's not that expensive, you know.
What is a pair of
When you
shoes
compare them
cost?
with a motor car, they're not.
Well, what does it cost?
Pounds, then.
For the 4 shoes?
Yes.
Of course, they don't carry any spares.
I'm very sad to see the job going out and that there's nobody taking up with it. Me and the families, been looking back so far since 1851, the families of my own has all been in the trade, and that I am the last of them that's to follow it. There's no one to take my place. I think I'm one of the best that shot a horse. I'd never found one to show me how to do better. I'm proud of my trade.